Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, and I hope you spent less time on trains this week than I did.
Well, I certainly did, Johnny. I unfortunately had to bail from the last of our wonderful brewery collaboration excursions that have taken us all around the UK and even over to Norway.
Sweden.
Sweden.
I mean, I guess we went over Norway at some point.
We went, yeah, that's what I meant, Johnny. That's what I meant.
Right,
we
okay.
went over Norway. Would we have gone over
Sweden.
Norway? Sweden's below Norway, though, isn't it? So I can't even claim that, isn't it?
What do you mean below Norway?
Norway's like the top bit of the bit that sticks out, isn't it? And then Sweden's like the low. I can't remember. Johnny, it's been a hot day. I've been varnishing a wall.
Okay. Hot day, I'm not
Yeah.
going to accept. Varnishing, yeah, maybe that's gone to your brain and you've forgotten that Sweden and Norway are essentially the limp phallus that dangles above mainland Europe.
Big dangler, though. Yeah, the big dangler that dangles down over Europe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm sitting currently in when I say I've been varnishing, it's you have seen some of the wood that's in my front room. And I just put up the little bit of in this week's lowbrow video. I just put up the last bit of wood that was left to go up. The last weekend, I don't know, weekend before. It all blurs now, Johnny. But I've just managed to varnish it today. Finally, I've had a little bit of time, and I've just varnished it. So if I'm a little bit intoxicated from the Osmo oils.
You've gone Osmo. I know it well.
I've gone Osmo. Never go non-Osmo, I reckon. It's pretty good stuff.
Right. It's not a great tagline, but your point's made.
It's quite pungent. It sounds like it could be from Sweden or Norway, doesn't it? Osmo as well. I reckon it could be a Scando product.
Yeah, I mean, all the Osmos I have are like sort of natural white, little white tint to it, very kind of IKEA finish.
Oh, you've gone for like a sort of wash, have you, to your wood treatments?
Yeah.
Was this in the Brudio? Did you get
no?
Brudio?
I didn't splash any Osmo around this. The budget was too tight.
No, I didn't think so.
It's on our lovely dining table, which we've had to cover with a fairly ugly tablecloth because obviously we have a 1-year-old who likes to draw and paint and stain things.
Well, that could add to the sort of rustic nature of the lime washed Osmo.
Well, no, it's not. It's not rustic. It's very Scandi chic. Yeah.
Okay. What was the base wood that we're talking here, Johnny?
White
Just
oak.
to get really off.
Yeah.
A white oak.
Yeah.
So you've made a white oak whiter.
Well, no, we've waterproofed it with what is an Osmo thing that is, it looks white. It doesn't make it whiter. It just matches the wood and ensures nothing's going to seep into it. But then we still put the tablecloth on because we're still too nervous.
Yeah. You do have to re-wax as well with Osmo oils after a period of time, just so you're aware.
Yeah. So we'll redo it probably when the tablecloth comes off. So it would have been an entirely pointless afternoon spent. Yep.
I'll tell you what though, the underneath of the tablecloth is really appreciating that tasteful,
lovely
Scandinavian
smooth
finish.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if any of the paint's managed to seep through the tablecloth, which given the amount that gets on there is perfectly possible, then we should be okay.
Nice. Well, it's something to look forward to in a year or so's time. So you're predicting as a 2-year-old you can take that off?
No. Did I say in a year? No, I'm talking like 3 or 4 years.
Okay, fair enough.
Sorry.
I was going to say that is bold. That is bold.
No, it's only going to get worse, I think, and then it will start to get better.
My friend Ben he's got 2 toddlers. Well, actually, one of them's at school, so not a toddler. But his kitchen table was like a big sheet of ply, but he's just embraced it. It's absolutely covered in paint and like kind of felt tip pens and all sorts of stuff. He said he's gonna hang it on the wall when they're older.
That's a nice idea.
He is an artist, so
right. Okay, so he's embracing
arty sort of. Yeah.
I've just realised my mum had the opposite approach when I was a kid. We had the tablecloth, and she used to take the tablecloth off, and we'd paint literally onto the table, which was this horrible grey gingham pattern thing. And then when we were done, she'd put the tablecloth back on. I've just realised, she did the inverse. Cheap table, nice tablecloth.
Well, not a cheap table, melamine, mate. That is British. I think it's a British invention, melamine, from the 1950s. I've got a 1950s kitchen, so I've got some melamine work surfaces on the go. And it's a wonder material that has come back into fashion now. So you can get Formica and melamine. Well, I think I actually know the pattern. You're saying like a gingham style pattern. That is a Formica. I'm a Formica fan. I've actually got rolls of Formica in my garage hoard of stuff that are, I think they are the 50th anniversary Formica special edition patterns in association with Eames, House of Eames, and they've got lots of lovely little mid-century sort of stuff patinated onto the surface. Very, very beautiful, Johnny. I'm a big fan of surfaces and materials and stuff, as well as gadgets. So I need to have a different channel other than Lowbrow, where I look at kind of architecture and materials and such. But
I mean, I think people would watch that channel, but also that's essentially what this podcast is.
Yeah,
half the time.
Yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
You've got an outlet, but if we ever wanted to make it visual,
yes.
Which it probably should be, to be honest, because you were just saying words and I was just letting you do it. Whereas if I could actually see it, I might understand what you're talking about. Yeah.
I've got, in Margate, my kitchen is designed by a very famous guy called Frank Giel, who I believe is at Royal College of Art as like a professor and all sorts of stuff. Designed this kitchen called a Trimmer kitchen in the 1950s. And it was kind of like one of the first sort of modular kitchens made of wood with Formica tops and, lots of mad colours. My one's orange and avocado coloured wooden doors, very full on, but like also very tasteful. But yeah, that's in that range they had Formica tops that were gingham, like your mum's one. I haven't seen grey, but I've seen sort of variations of grey, like black ones with a gingham pattern on, and all sorts of crazy ones. They even had ones designed by Lucian Day, who was Robin Day's wife. Robin Day is the inventor of the polypropylene chair, the school chair that we all sat on as children. They were a luminary design couple in British design, and yeah, I think they won many competitions around the world for the humble polypropylene injection molded plastic chair, Johnny. Injection molding, and that takes us on to roto molding in Lowbrow.
Are we doing video first? I
mean, it's
such
we're not.
A good link.
I was just trying to. Well, we could shake it up a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like we don't want this format to get tired. We could go straight into the video, give the people what they want, and then we'll talk about my trip to Verdant after.
Yeah, that's a nice shout. Then you can tell me to stop when it gets too long. But
do I ever do that?
I guess you're pretty good at not doing that, really. Sometimes you pull me back a little bit when I'm going too far afield. But polypropylene plastic chairs by Robin Day. Tabletops designed by Lucian Day, his wife, who is an amazing surface pattern designer. I've got books on these people. I love these people, Johnny. I sort of see them as friends somehow. I collect their things like a strange thing hoarder who's just obsessed with design, essentially. But yeah, injection molding, very, very cheap, fast process of molding stuff, mass manufacture, hence why it was such incredible, well, not for the planet, but incredible for banging out very, very budget, very strong school chairs out of minimal materials. Do you remember those chairs at school?
I know exactly what you're talking about. They were like,
yeah.
Well, mine were dark brown with like a
classic
porthole in the back.
Oh, you had a port, for carrying. Yeah, sorry, like a little porthole handle.
Yeah,
stacking chairs. Yeah. I don't know the model numbers. I'm not that much of a geek, but I've got some in my garden. I've got some bright pink ones, which are called polo chairs, and they've got holes all over them. Like, I guess, I don't know why they're called polo, but maybe it's something to do with like a net or something. I don't know. There aren't any nets in polo, are there? No. But they're polo chairs, Johnny. They look like the school ones, except they've got loads of holes all over them, so the water can just drip off of them. Essentially, very well designed.
I thought you were going to do a link into the video, but we're back on.
I was, and then I got distracted, Johnny. So, injection molding, very, very cheap. Hence why plastic school chairs are cheap and mass-produced. And then you've got roto molding, which is the very high-end way of molding plastic, which was evident in my... can I give away my favourite?
My
favourite...
all seen it by now.
My favourite cool box. Well, I hope not. It's not have very many views. Hopefully, some more people will be listening in and think I better go check that out. My favourite cooler was the Utoka 20, Johnny, a roto molded, cool box that holds an incredible amount of beer and treated correctly in the correct fashion, Johnny, to operate a cool box, which I can run you through as well if you'd like. It will keep your beers cold.
You
for
talked
5
about
days.
it at length in the video, and I removed it for 2 reasons. One, because you mentioned it a couple of times, but 2, more importantly, because I thought there was probably a video in that rather than putting it in with the reviews. So maybe there'll be a lowbrow on how to get the best from your cool boxes.
Yeah. Basically, just a quick, not even a run through, but just whenever you're operating a cool bag or cool box, Johnny, you've got to open it a minimum amount of time. Because air is your enemy. The outside world is your enemy. So do not open your cool bag, cool box, unless you really need to. Also, don't leave any air gaps in your cool box. You kind of want to pack that thing full. You want a ratio of ice to whatever you're cooling. Maybe a 2 to 1. So 2-part thing you're trying to cool to 1 part ice. Or 50-50 if you want to keep it real cold. These are the kind of things we could talk about in a video. But... is that a good video? Maybe that is a good video. Could be good shorts, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think definitely a decent short.
There's a bunch of videos I've seen about shorts, about optimum ways of packing beers into your cool box. So like people that are buying these big, I don't know, like a six packs of beer, but not like longer American sort of cartons of beer. That they laid down long ways. Sorry, they almost insert it like it's a carrot going into the cool box, like long ways. I don't know how to describe that. And then you open the bottom of it gingerly at the bottom, and then you pull the. You sort of put a load of them in vertically. Then you pack ice around it, and then you pull the cardboard off, and then you've got these sort of like towers of beers. That are betwixt ice columns. It looks pretty satisfying, Johnny. I'd love to.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. I didn't explain that very well.
Using the fridge pack, like the cardboard packs.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Long boys. Yeah. So, I've lost my train of thought, but I absolutely love the Utoka. I think it's such a good cool box. I've had it for a couple of years. And it looks brand new. It's incredibly well made. incredibly robust, incredibly orange. Although I had a little look again today, and they actually sell it in a whole multitude of colours. There's a teal one, which is beautiful, bluey, greeny, kind of summery colour. They do it in like a Barbie pink, which I thought was awesome. They do it in a lowbrow yellow, craft beer channel yellow for that matter. They do it in a kind of, I think, a sand colour, a white colour, which is obviously pretty normal. And then they do it in this amazing colour, which I think they call it camo, and it's like a marbled plastic effect. So when they mold it, I'm not even sure how it works. It's got like a marbly, swirly pattern of camouflage all over it, which is very satisfying. Yeah, all sorts, Johnny. All sorts.
Well, yeah, we need to get ourselves a yellow one, really, don't we? That's pretty.
We do.
Pretty exciting if it's nearly on brand. We've actually, you may have noticed, sometimes we do this. We've tweaked the thumbnail. So sometimes, you can look at the views, and often the views are great, or often they're not. But you can have a look and see if that's because like the content hasn't really hit, or if the thumbnail isn't working, or what might be causing those low views. And we reckon on this one it was the thumbnail. So we've given it a little tweak in which you say it's better than Yeti, which
better than Yeti, yeah.
Certainly, I mean, I've never owned a Yeti. I don't think I've ever really played with a Yeti, but I do know that it is significantly cheaper than a Yeti.
Significantly cheaper than Yeti. I don't own a Yeti, and that is a conscious decision that I've gone Yutaka instead. But I have looked extensively in outdoor shops at Yetis to the point where people have come over to me and said, "Are you okay?" Because I've spent so long looking at them, Johnny. And honestly, it's the same roto-molding process, but I think the features on the Yutaka are just killer compared to a sort of similar priced Yeti, which would be smaller, or a similar size Yeti, which would be far more expensive, and I think have less feature packed also. Things like, I think they would all claim to be bear proof, but this has got a metal kind of locking plate on each side of the cool box, where you can put a padlock through it. You can literally, I think you might have chopped this out of the video as well, but I said you could literally put this on a bicycle chain it to a tree in a park, and no one will be able to get your beers or take.
I felt bad getting rid of that because it was well over length, So as the phrase in editing goes, sometimes you have to kill your darlings. I thought it was great. I thought it was entirely overblown and ridiculous that you'd chain your cool. Because also, like, generally, if I was going to nick, I feel like people would be nicking the beers rather than the cooler. They might not realise the value of the cooler, but I still appreciated the idea of chaining it to a tree.
I mean, it just gives you options, especially if bears have figured out.
You need to bring chains and padlocks as well.
You would, but
which might remove the convenience of having a nice, easy-ish to carry cooler.
But I guess from a business perspective, if you were to use this as part of your business, which I know people do use big cool boxes, say at festival events and things like that, if they're operating, usually at food stalls, I would say they might keep their fish in it or their meat in it or whatever, because they know it's going to keep stuff cold for like the whole weekend or the 4 days that they're there, if they treat it correctly. Then you might want to lock that baby down because it's got your livelihood in it and all the rest. So I think there is a use case for that, but also the metal integrated padlocky bit on each side, Johnny. It's a bottle opener on both sides, so you can dual bottle opener to your heart's content with your best buddy.
So if you double fist in, you don't even need to put one bottle down. You can do them two at a time. Yeah,
it's amazing. It really is amazing. It's got things like, I'm not a fisherman, but if I was a fisherman, I could measure the length of my catch because it's got a handy ruler on the top of it, which has got all the scales of how long whatever you want to measure is. I guess you could use it to measure a bit of wood, Johnny, and then you could build a log cabin with with the cool box ruler. If you were really in a pinch, Johnny, if you needed to build a shelter away from bears, you could potentially fashion one, and then you could sit on it as your chair inside of your little cabin that you build. You could use it as a little step ladder, Johnny, and you could stand on it as you were erecting the structure. It's that versatile. If you really got desperate, you could throw it at a bear because it is very, very tough.
That's a real last ditch move.
Yeah.
Throwing...
It's bright orange as well, so I feel like a bear would be scared of bright orange, maybe.
Okay.
Although hunters wear orange, don't they? Because animals aren't bothered by it. I think probably someone's going to.
Or is it not that just there's no animals that are brightly orange, so you won't be shot by anybody else?
Well, it's to stand out, isn't it? But you see, if you look at a lot of, like I do, I'm in a lot of vintage shops all the time. A lot of a lot of vintage hunting jackets will be like real tree camouflage, which is the most predator vision, invisible kind of pattern if you're in a forest. And then it'll have big orange panels on it, which sort of defies the point, seemingly, of having this real tree camo shit all over it. But
so it's camo for fashion, and then it's orange for safety.
Orange for safety. I don't know, but I'm presuming that the animals are maybe not that arsed about orange. I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't really know. I like to sort of think I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't know why. I know that the hunters wear orange because it stands out, and obviously you don't want to get shot rustling around in the trees. Someone's going to see a flash of orange and not shoot you. But yeah, anyway, gone way off topic again as usual.
Yeah, well, let's get back to the video. So, did you have any favourite comments?
Favourite comments? Ooh, I like Mr. Rougelot again, as always, coming out with really nice comments. He said, "Great episode. When I think that Brad didn't want to be filmed at the start of the channel, and I see how he delivers on his own, I'm happy he changed his mind." So that's nice. That's nice. Things like that.
That was one I picked
out. I'm very
shy. That was nice, and I think we talked about it on the podcast before. The original intention wasn't for you to be on the channel. You were behind the camera.
Yeah, I was going to be the cameraman, and you and our third, no longer member, Jimothy was going to be the other on-screeny guy, and then it kind of changed. It evolved quite fast.
It was when we did the City Burger video, you gave it a go, and I think maybe it wasn't as awful as you thought, and then Jim left, and suddenly I was like, I can't do this on my own. So round you came. No.
Yeah, man, that's it. Roundabouts the camera I walked. Yeah. Go on, did you have any comments, or did I just nick your comment?
No, well, that so I picked out two. That one was that one. Well, actually, there were three. So another one is Ian Laker says, "This addresses a pressing issue for me. Our monthly homebrew meetings require us to bring a couple of 500ml bottles to share. The Bellroy Cooler Caddy will do just nicely, because you don't want to have to bring. Because I've been to bottle shares where by the time the beer's arrived, it's warm, but you don't want to take a whole cool box. So the Cooler Caddy's good for that. It's a good bottle share cooler. But the other one was John Odges.
Yeah.
Bit of a Nick Clegg situation there where you don't know where the first name finishes and the second one begins. He said, try the Stanley Pint.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I had a little look at that this morning. I'm aware of the Stanley Pint as a product already. So essentially it's like a kind of an insulated pint glass. Yeah. Without a lid. No lid, Johnny.
Yeah, but did you look into the details? Because, there's lots of these products out there. But the Stanley, says it will keep your beer cold for 4 hours.
I mean, that's definitely a lie. It's got no lid on it. How can it do that?
Well, I think
there's only one way to find out, Johnny.
I think you can get a lid.
It doesn't come with a lid, and it's stackable. That's what makes me think that... Can you get a lid? I mean, if you can get a lid, I totally believe it. Keep your beer cold for 4 hours.
I'm not sure.
It's the fact that it didn't have a lid. For me...
But you just straight out calling them liars?
No, I'm not calling them liars. I just think that is... Maybe if you're sat inside in optimum sort of conditions, 18... Oh, no, hang on. Okay. Stanley Classic Insulated Pint Cup. I'm now looking at a different version of it, which does come with a lid, Johnny. And the lid has got an integrated bottle opener, which I am into. So now I've seen that, I am gonna have to do a review on it, aren't I?
I think there possibly is an episode in sort of vacuum. They vacuum packed, not vacuum packed. What's that? Vacuum insulated cups.
Yeah, insulated cups. Yeah. I mean, we've already had. I can't remember what it was called, but it was the great insulated thing that you could stick your beers in, whether they were cans, bottles, any kind of format. It had a rubber kind of grommet around the top of it, and as you put the beer in, it would fart and go where it was making a vacuum seal around it. That was a nice thing.
Yeah, I use that all the time whenever I'm drinking direct from the vessel. In fact, a couple of nights ago, I was having a Lucky Saint, and I didn't like. I always forget to put beer. The low alcohol beers don't live in the fridge. I don't have fridge space, I always forget to put them in the fridge because usually it's a last minute decision. So I'm not drinking today, and then last minute you're like, but I'll have a Lucky Saint. So I put it in the freezer, but it still wasn't as cold as I wanted when I wanted it. So I put it in one of those to keep it as cold as it could possibly be. And honestly, I sipped that beer throughout a whole film, and it was ice cold. Well, not ice cold. It was as cold as I got it the whole time. So that was 2 hours.
Yeah, they're great. Those are great.
It's an incredible bit of kit. And you can take the rubber thing off it and just use it as a cup as well.
Yes, that's true. Which arguably is better. It's a Husky.
Husky, that's the brand. Yeah, Husky. Yeah.
And I can't quite remember what it was called, but it was a Husky cooler, something Husky cooler. Go and watch the label.
Was it just a beer cooler? Husky beer cooler.
Husky beer cooler.
Yeah.
I think it might just be called a Husky. Oh, do you know what, Johnny?
Go on.
Just looking on Amazon, I just found it. It's on sale at the minute.
Holy shit.
Lowest price in 30 days, $22.99.
Wow, there you go.
That also has an integrated bottle opener on the bottom.
If you do that's 100% worth it. It's an amazing thing. And I've got the rose pink one. It's very, very plush.
Oh, very nice. Rose pink, eh? If you do buy one, guys, can you go via our lowbrow video with our affiliate
and it's got an affiliate link, yeah.
That will chuck us some
I'll put the
coin.
affiliate link in this podcast, and if people want to buy it tonight as a little gift to themselves on a Friday, go get it, because it's cheapest it's been for 30 days according to Amazon, and Amazon wouldn't lie to us.
They wouldn't lie to us, surely. Never. I think once you take the lid bit off, it's not insulated though, is it, right? Because the insulation comes from the air pocket which you create with the rubber.
No, the metal is insulated as well. Triple insulated marine grade stainless steel, and then you have the extra protection of the air gap in between once you seal it. So I think if you use it as a cup, it's not as good, but it's still pretty good.
I love that thing. I think it's great. I love the fact that you've got a rose gold one as well.
Yep.
That's painting a picture in my mind.
Well, I had to get two separate colours, so I don't know why I had to get two separate colours, but I've got a stainless steel and I've got a rose one, and they're great. Right, so if you haven't seen that video, it's a fantastic video. It could have been 45 minutes long, and a little part of me, there's always that, like, most of our sort of regular viewers would probably have wanted the 45-minute one, but nobody else would have clicked on it. So I know, maybe the time will come if we can make the money and the time for ourselves that we do the editor's cut of anything with Brad in, because that's the case. Anything that's got both of us in it runs for at least 40, and anything with just Brad pushes an hour. And it was all gold that I was cutting, so it was a sad gig. It was a sad gig. Yeah.
I didn't really get to talk about any of the other cool boxes. Very briefly, Johnny. The Cool Tunes from Igloo, the Igloo Playmate Cool Tunes, is awesome. It's totally stupid, and it's not the most effective cool box in the world. But if you're just going to pose on the beach or in the park for a day, 24 hours, it's going to keep your beers amazingly cold, and you're going to have a great boombox on the beach, Johnny. It's just friggin' awesome. I love that thing so much. I'd love to, potentially work with them a bit more. They do loads of Playmate kind of custom ones. You can get Star Wars ones. You can get American football team ones, Simpsons ones I've seen.
Wow.
All sorts, mate. Like, really, really cool. Igloo is a kind of big sort of massive brand in America. Injection molded, mate. They're not roto molded, sadly. But still a very good cool box. The REI one, which I got corrected.
Even though you said it might be REI, still people there going, like, you idiot, you goddamn moron. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The REI Co-op, as I said in the video, that's what I called it. Or Ray, which I still think is legit to call it Ray.
Well, because of what's-her-face now from Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's how they spell it, isn't it? Or is it REY? Can't remember now.
I don't know. I can't spell either. But what do you call it? That's an amazing cool box, and that's actually $35. I thought it was $40. I think when I bought it in San Fran, it was near to $40 because of the tax on top of it. So in my head, I just thought it's $40. It's actually $35.
Amazing.
Which is really, really good deal. And they do go into sales quite often. I've seen them in sales. And the Bellroy, which I haven't talked about either, is something that I'm now taking about with me every day. In my day pack, when I'm going out and about. Literally got it on me all the time. Which I would argue that makes it the best cool box because I've got it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, so that got 4 stars, and so did the Cool Tunes just because of the cost, right? The products were sensational, but just the cost didn't feel right.
Yeah, and I think for the Cool Tunes, I do think it's a bit punchy. You can get a regular Playmate for about 40 or 50 quid, similar size.
Right, so it's 150 quid for the speakers.
Yeah, and then we all know you can buy pretty kick-ass Bluetooth speakers for like 50 quid or something. Like an Anchor, whatever one's like 50 quid. And they're pretty good. But, I mean, I have a Brion Vega one, Johnny. Brion Vega is an Italian design company from the 1960s. So, of course, Brad has to have a different Bluetooth speaker. So I've got Brion Vega.
Wait, they're from the 1960s, but they have Bluetooth speakers?
No. Well, it's actually... But it looks like an Apple product because Apple just ripped Dieter Rams and they ripped Brion Vega and loads of amazing people, Zanussi, all these kind of like luminary designers of the 60s. They just ripped them. So it's got a very Apple look to it. But it's actually designed, I think it's designed by a British guy. I'm looking at it right now. Let me just look at the bottom of it. I don't know if it's not very interesting, is it? Sorry. I've diverted us massively here again. Who is it designed by? Oh, you fuck. I know it says it somewhere. Designed by... And then I can't read it. I can't read it, Johnny, because it's a man's signature, but I think he's an English guy. Michael something or other studio. I don't know. I can't remember. It's a nice little thing anyway. And it didn't... they're quite expensive, but you can get them way cheap these days. So that is a bit of a rip. I do think the Bellroy... about £55 is punchy, but it is made of really, really premium materials. As I said, I think you might have cut it in the video. I've seen people pour actual water inside it, and it won't leak because it's all seam sealed. It's a really, really well made bit of kit. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't put ice cubes in that. And like treat it like a hard cool box because of the stuff I've seen, which is also pretty incredible. I wouldn't ever think of doing that, but having watched people pour water into it, I don't see a reason why you couldn't just put like ice cubes from your freezer in it. Which
you should have tested that in the video because if it went right, it's amazing. If it went wrong, it would have been hilarious.
Well, you would think it would make it go a bit funky over time, like too much moisture and stuff like that. But anyway, it's a B Corporation, Johnny. All of the plastics involved are recycled, and it's kind of like better for planet Earth kind of thing. So I think there's a kind of not a Ponzi tax, but there's a tax for being a good, responsible consumer, and the tax is £55.
It's like why Patagonian hats are like 60 quid.
Yeah.
Because you're saving the world when you wear one.
Well, you'd probably be saving the world if you wore the one your nana knitted.
Oh yeah, that's probably better, isn't it? Knitted.
You know what I mean?
No one wants a knitted baseball cap. That's.
Oh, you said. I thought you said like a. Okay.
Oh no, I was thinking of a baseball of a trucker cap.
I love a baseball cap. I'm not even sure I'd wear a knitted baseball cap. That'd be too floppy.
That'd be it would be. Yeah, the visor would just be like just in front of your eyes, just flop down.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the other big news from this week is that we brewed the last of our collaboration beers. Yeah. Brad sadly couldn't make it down to Verdant in the end.
I couldn't. I had a family emergency, which I won't go into because it's a bit personal. But everything's seemingly sort of all right. Well, not all right, but like everything's okay, Johnny. Don't worry about me, people. Everything's okay. But yeah, it was something I couldn't avoid. And I was gutted not to go because I love Verdant. I love the haze that they produce down there. And I haven't been to Cornwall since I was a kid. So I was double gutted. How was it, Johnny?
It was great. I mean, I started the podcast by bitching about the trains. The trains are actually all right, but it is 7 hours door to door.
Yeah.
By train. But it was incredible. So I've been to the new Verdant site once before. But that was right at when they basically just moved in and started producing, like a couple of months after they moved. So now they've very much moved in. They've already filled the space and had to get warehousing across the road. And the tap room is now running, and it's incredible. Like, doing great sourdough pizza. They got 4 cask lines. Well, sorry, 3 cask lines and brewed by them, and a cider line, real cider, and then... I think it was maybe 16 taps, 18 taps of their own beer. So, the widest range you're going to get anywhere of Verdant beer. And they had Hellers, Porters, and all kinds of stuff, as well as endless hazy IPA and pale ales. So the taproom was incredible. And the brew was great. It was James, the head brewer, more so perhaps than any other brewer that we've worked with, has just gone... Like, I sent him the homebrew recipe. I mean, we wrote it together anyway, and he just scaled it up.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, the recipe that is in that video that we did with them way back in 2020 is essentially the same beer. Obviously tweaked a bit, to their processes and stuff. But yeah, so brew 1, Citra Mosaic, decent whack of IBUs to try and keep it a little bit crisp. Hopefully loads of pineapple vibes. It was a double batch, which I think is standard for them, really. They generally do double batches. Going into keg and can, hopefully just in time for the festival. It's getting a bit tight at this point. So we brewed that. I got to be on the brew deck and I was filming. But also they let me push some buttons, add the hops. And yeah, it was nice and involved. And then James gave me a tour. James is a bit like you, but for brewing. So I said I need like a 5-6 minute brewery tour, and an hour later we were still going, and he was half an hour later for a meeting that he said he could not miss, but he just got going. And then our chat about the recipe and about Verdant, which I said again needed to be like 5-6 minutes, was about half an hour long.
Nice.
So
that's gonna be fun in the edit.
Yeah, the Verdant one and the Omnipoyo one. I don't know, they might need to be split in 2, or maybe I'll just take literally a minute from the brew tour and then release the full brewery tour as a separate video. Because, I mean, not all of it is fascinating to people at home. There's a lot of technical stuff that he wanted to sort of show off. But I don't know. I'll figure it out. But it's going to be a great video. Lots of lovely footage as well, because it's a very beautiful brewery with trees, and it's all up high. You're about 4 or 5 meters off the ground, up on the brew deck. It's pretty cool. And yeah, the beer is called Definitely Not a Cult, which is a nod to our Discord forum where occasionally cultish things happen, and we tell everybody that we're, that's not what we're going for.
We're definitely not a cult, are we, Johnny? Definitely not a cult. There's been talk of robes over the time, and all
when we asked for what merchandise
things
people want to see at the festival, people said cult robes, which unfortunately we couldn't find a supplier of cult robes.
Not a good price point, Johnny.
Not a good price point. Not with the personalizations that we needed.
What could we do? What could we make to induct people into the cult with?
Maybe masks.
What sort of masks?
Maybe we could
like Eyes Wide Shut vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, sorry, no. Backtracking there.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
More
backtracking is the word.
V for Vendetta style.
Okay,
yeah.
we could source some. No, we're not gonna buy a load of masks. We're already hemorrhaging money on this festival.
It's slowly getting more expensive. We start to look at our margins, going, "Oh yeah, festivals are hard."
If anyone works for Walker's Crisps out there, I've tried to reach out to them on socials because I'd love to bestow everyone with some pickled onion Monster Munch. Being a superior,
just to be clear, if they won't, we'll just go down to Costco.
Oh, we're going to buy them anyway.
Yeah,
but
there's not going to be any shortage of crisps.
Like, I'd be up for them turning up with one of their Monster Munch monsters, handing out Monster Munch. That'd be great. That'd be like a childhood dream.
We've had these kinds of conversations a lot about the festival. You seem to think that these brands have the time and the money to invest in small niche craft beer festivals. I'm
just a dreamer, Johnny. We're hopefully getting some other bits and bobs as well along the way. So
yeah,
Well,
we'll see. I mean, if Gary Lineker turns up, I will. I don't know what I'll say to you. I won't be able to say anything to Gary. I'll be too nervous.
No, very very nervous.
I'll just say I like his shirts. He's always got very nicely fitted shirts.
Nicely fitted shirts, has he?
Yeah, just a man who knows how to wear a shirt.
Do you mean like a sort of button-down shirt, like a smart shirt?
Yeah, he is perpetually smart cash.
I think that's not good though. That's not a good thing.
Well, no,
isn't he a dirty love rat as well? Didn't he like cheat on his wife and stuff?
I think so. I think that's just every other footballer.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, Gary. I didn't mean to tie you with the same brush.
Mate. No, Gary's a good man. He's always fighting the good fights on Twitter. Which is the mark of a good man, apparently. I heard that, everybody, don't worry.
Are we still calling it Twitter? Is it not X now?
Sorry, it's X now, but it's not.
Is it X or is it still Twitter? I don't
it's X.
Know. I'm not.
It's called X.
Yeah.
It's just
Isn't X what the kids call ecstasy? That's confusing, isn't it?
Only to them.
In America, I've seen it in American movies where they're talking about drugs and they.
Yeah, but they're all on TikTok anyway.
Oh, okay.
So they probably even don't know that Twitter's changed its name because that's what their mum and their dad did.
Oh, I did say kids, so I guess I don't even know if the kids do drugs anymore. I don't think they do. I think they're too.
You sound sad about this. It's probably for the best.
Well, it's good to experiment a little bit. I think as a young person to find out what you like. Okay. I'm not saying with drugs. I'm just saying in general, like. It's good to,
So that's the content warning put on this podcast. Thank you.
Oh God, I wasn't endorsing drugs. Although we are endorsing drugs all the
said
time.
It's good to experiment.
With beer and alcohol, Johnny, which is also a drug. A drug though.
But it's a legal drug, so it is good to experiment. Drink yourself clever. Yes. So the other thing I did while I was down at Verdant was a beer and pizza matching night. So they have this amazing pizza restaurant. I should say tap room, which has a pizza oven in it, and they've got a lady called Riley who is a fantastic pizziola. She was a training chef for Franco Manca and Rudy's as well, so she's got chops. And she put together an amazing menu. We had a pumpkin base.
Go on.
Oh, right. I thought I was going to shock you there. We had a pumpkin base with stone fruit jam and induja that we paired.
Stone fruit jam and induja. This sounds insane.
It was so fucking good.
Like
sweet jam. And spicy,
so like peaches
and tangy.
Plums and shit.
Yeah.
As a what?
Do you remember? Weirdly, we had a stone fruit jam on a pizza at Omnipollo, literally weeks ago as well.
Yeah, but did it have tomatoes on it still, or just the jam?
I think that one did, yeah.
So it's like
it's basically a really sticky sweet chutney. The pumpkin is sweet and earthy and salty.
How do they make a pumpkin base though? What is it? Has it still got flour in it?
Sorry, no, the base sauce, not the actual pizza. Sorry. Yeah, the base sauce was pumpkin.
I thought this sounds bizarre.
Right.
I've never seen a pizza base made out of pumpkin.
No, so the base
gonna be
sauce.
well floppy. Right, okay, the sauce. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, so sourdough, 72-hour sourdough base, pumpkin sauce, stone fruit jam, fior di latte, and then andouille. And we paired that with a West Coast IPA, California IPA, which was big and bold and piney and resiny, but also, like all the Californias, had a bit of fruitiness to it. I think it's nectarum. And that really worked with the pumpkin. Not the pumpkin, the stone fruit jam. And the andouille was great with the spiciness, because spiciness and bitterness go together really, really nicely. So that was great. We had a white one, which was gorgonzola, pecorino, parma ham. Salty as the sea. And we had that with a New England IPA, which was exceptional because it made the New England IPA really mellow, really soft and fruity. It turned it into like a 4% kind of golden ale, just really mellowed it out, and it was fantastic. All that sweetness and all that saltiness.
Nice. Sounds great.
Yeah. And we had tiramisu with their Imperial Porter Velvet Overground. See what we did there?
Velvet Overground, yeah, great name.
Yeah. Just had a magic time. So Riley absolutely smashed it. The tap room was amazing, and we had over 30 people come down and doing the matches with me. I told them about the history of pizza, the history of beer, how we don't know what came first, beer or bread. It was a really good night. So I don't know. I'm going to try and go down there and do the same again next year, because it was one of the best tastings I've ever done. From my perspective, I don't know how anyone else, the people that paid to be there, thought. But as a person that got free pizza and beer and got to mouth off for an hour or two, I enjoyed it.
Surely bread came first, didn't it?
No, we don't know, Bradley. You need to come to one of my tastings.
Surely, I'm team bread.
Based on all of the academic research you've done.
Bread. Based on everyone.
I can't believe you're team bread.
Yeah, I'm team bread.
You're not going to back the team that got you here.
Yeah, but I feel like surely bread was a human necessity before. Are you sort of saying they were both accidentally invented or whatever? What are you saying here? I haven't read the latest book, Johnny. So what are we saying?
Well, I haven't finished it. Yeah,
I know.
we're going to get into the weeds here, but essentially, so humans, pre-civilization, pre-settling down, were nomadic. They would hunt and gather and travel across the land depending on the weather and the opportunities and whether a bigger tribe with bigger sticks were around. And they one day settled, right? And there's lots of reasons as to why they might have done that. Anthropologists argue about it, but one of the possible things could have been to cultivate grain. Like they found sorghum, wheat, barley, rice, whatever it was, and they found that they could grow it well here, so they settled there and grew it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the earliest example of bread that we know, like a concrete example of bread being made, unleavened bread, so not risen, is about 6,000 years earlier than the earliest example of beer being brewed. So it's quite possible they realised that if they got the grain wet, left it for a couple of days, it would start fermenting, and if they sort of ate/drank that, they'd get drunk, they wouldn't be poisoned, and it was good for them. They'd feel sated. So that's the important thing to remember. Like carbonated, vatted beer, obviously invented thousands and thousands and thousands of years later, probably around the Egyptians, the Sumerians, started to really clear it up and turn it into just a straight-up liquid. But they might have just been eating fermented grain long before they started grinding it enough to turn it into flour, mush it up, bake it.
Interesting.
But equally...
And how long ago are we saying this is? Sorry, Johnny.
So the earliest example we have of beer being brewed is 13,000 BC, a place called the Rakafet Cave in northern Israel.
Okay.
And that was done in literally like a pestle and mortar that they ground out of the cave floor, where they were mixing it there and then eating it. So yeah, I mean, but essentially, also, there's arguments that there is bread baking happening even at Rack Effect Cave. There's people saying, well, I think there probably was. We've got these other examples of things. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. They would have both been very similar things. Beer was almost an uncooked version of bread at that time. So we just don't know for sure which thing kind of happened first.
Interesting. Very interesting, Johnny. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I wonder if we can do some videos about all of this.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're going to. We're gonna
shizzle.
We're gonna turn it into clickbait to sell books and get clicks.
Yeah. I'm interested in anthropology and the origin of human, ancestral sort of things to proto-humans and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, man, sounds great. Bring it on. Okavango Delta is popping into my head, but I think that was the home of the origin of the earliest living sort of human communities, I believe. Okavango Delta. That's in the back of my head as a thing. But
I mean, these things, it all changes. Like we didn't know about the Rack Effect Cave until I think it's 5-6 years ago. So that's what we're like. We just assumed it was bread first, and Rack Effect Cave threw that into doubt. So it keeps changing.
We should make an aged beer called Rack Effect Cave. Some sort of aged beer.
Maybe we should. We could use their we can't use their recipes because the recipe was literally grain and water. But we can make like the Egyptian recipes. They were throwing dates and honey and nuts and all kinds of stuff in there.
Oof,
which is cool. Hopefully in January I'm traveling to visit one of the earliest Egyptian breweries for the book. Hopefully. Hopefully that's the plan. But yeah, so that Verdant beer is coming out. Rack Effect Cave is a homebrew that Brad and I will start working on. And yeah, you'll be able to buy the beer. So we are now confirmed. It is all sorted. We will be selling the packs of beer. 6 of the 10 collabs will be going into a 6-pack being sold by Malt Miller. So if you can't make the festival or it's sold out before you got tickets, the week after we will be doing a live show tasting 6 of those, and you can buy those from Malt Miller. So as soon as we have a link for that to pre-order it, we will get that live so that you guys can all enjoy that. We've hit 50 minutes, Bradley.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of the average these days.
Talk about.
Yeah. Well, it was a short one last week because we were exhausted and baking in the sun.
So exhausted. That was so hot where we recorded. I don't know whether that came across in the way we were talking, but I just felt physically and mentally exhausted sitting in the heat. It was like insanely hot, wasn't it?
I mean, it was warmish. It was like,
oh, come on.
It was like mid-20s.
It was well hot. Mate, in that direct sunlight, it was crazy. It was crazy hot. My head I was just dripping with sweat.
Your temperature references are well off because you still maintain that on Lake Champlain it was like -10. And I was there literally in a bomber jacket and a t-shirt. If you look at the video, it was not -10.
Well, look, it had to be pretty cold. We're all on pretty thick ice there.
Well,
salty,
yeah, but I mean,
not salty ice, but yeah, ice.
Yeah, it would have been fresh water. Yeah, but anyway, let's not go down that road. Yeah, this has been the Friday 5 p.m. I will put that affiliate link to the wonderful Husky beer cooler in there because you won't get a better price, and you will help us out. We should say while we're talking about affiliate links.
Yes.
If you're going to buy the Utaka.
Yes.
Use the code. If you're buying direct, use the code. Is it Craft10?
Craft10 will get you 10% off.
Yeah, so 20 quid off.
Store wide.
Oh, right. 20 or 20 quid off of the cooler, yeah.
Offer you Utaka 20. But if you want to get one of the big rolly ones, or if you want to get a customized one, or anything else you might want to get, they've even got insulated cups like we were talking about earlier with the Stanley one. They've got their own versions of that. I've got one of those. They're very good. Just a sort of general purpose kind of insulated cup. I use it for iced coffee. But they've got all sorts of stuff on there, Johnny. Very cool things, and you'll get 10% off.
There you go.
With Craft 10.
Do you want to, just while you were talking then, I was just like, I should look at our Amazon affiliate program, see if we got any affiliate profit from your video.
Yes.
2 days ago.
Yes.
Guess how much we've earned in fees for affiliates?
Oh, about 20 pence, I'm guessing.
Oh, right, okay. 90p.
Way! Let's buy a couple of curly whirlies, mate, and have a party. I'm not even sure that I'd buy us a single packet of fucking pickled onion Monster Munch, mate. I'm not sure how much they cost these days. I feel like they're about...
I mean, a grab bag might be more than that, yeah.
Over £1, I reckon.
Yeah.
Over £1.
What a world.
Well, I tell you what, mate. We're going to buy a couple of... Hopefully this time next week, we'll buy a couple of packets of grab bags on that video. That'd be something to look forward to.
Keep Brad in Monster Munch. That's why you use affiliate links. Anyway, yes, it's been a pleasure to host this. Much love to all of you, and of course, much love and beer to all of you. And we will see you next week. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the craft beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.